Hello, my name is Dr. George Mochocki, and welcome to Introduction to Business Online. We're entering week 7 in this class that you're taking with the College of Lake County, and it's called Business 121 800 Series. My name is Dr. George Mochocki. This week we're going to be talking about Chapter 17, which is Accounting, Chapter 18, which is Financial Manager or Chief Financial Officer. Accounting is the one who tells me the data or the language of business. Here's how much expenses, here's my revenue, here's all the information, takes raw data and compiles it into reports. Now, Chapter 18, or Chief Financial Manager, he or she looks at those reports and saying, yes, our company is sound, no, our company is weak, we're having a cash flow issue, how do I resolve that? And that's the Chief Financial Officer says we should implement these new policies, or we should take this path instead of this path, and let's see what happens. In 3 months we go back to accounting. Accounting looks at the numbers. Oh, your return on investment have improved, your profitability ratios have increased, so whatever you're doing, Chief Financial Officer, you're doing right. So you see the two. So 18 is the accounting, gives me the raw data, puts it into a readable format, takes data, compiles it into ledgers, annual reports, my balance sheets, my income statement, my cash flows, different variety of ratios you're going to learn about. And then Chapter 18, the Chief Financial Officer, he or she takes that information and they look at it and say, how could are we doing well, or should we change something to improve our productivity or our numbers? Now we have that all done. The next chapter we're going to be talking about is Chapter 19, which is securities and stocks and bonds. When I look at securities, is anything, how do I get money? Either I sell some parts of my business to bring more capital so I can expand my business, or do I take, or I do an IOU, or do a loan, ask for a loan, I issue a bond so I get more business to, some more capital to expand my business. Or am I doing okay? Should I stay everything as it is? Now should I sell some of my shares so I could get more investors in? Or do I get rid of some parts of the businesses that does not make any sense? And how do I sell this? So that when you look at the securities market, you have the New York Stock Exchange, one of the oldest. You have the American Stock Exchange, the next one, where a lot of stocks and bonds are traded from companies. It's like a market. If I'm going to go buy a car, I go to a car dealer. If I want to buy stocks, I go to a security exchange, or whether it's online. And the other one is over the counter. I don't have to have a security exchange, but I have a way that people could buy and sell my stocks. Just like I could have a garage sale. People could come to my facilities, my house, my residence, and basically buy stuff, or I could just put it all on eBay and you never see me, but I'm still selling the same information, only using a different, what I would call a different market. So that's when you look at the security markets. Now, when I'm looking at securities, remember, stocks and bonds, stocks are what most people are thinking about. The stocks are what I would call equity financing. That means I'm bringing in partners. I'm not taking on any loans, any debt. And the other one is that the sister or stepsister of a stock market is the bond market. Now, the bond market is IOUs. Companies have IOUs, or to take credits or on credit or charge or a line of credit or whatever. You know what I mean? So they have a way of accessing money for a short term, so they could buy their inventory. So most organizations have to buy it in advance. Buy an inventory 3-6 months in advance before they actually sell it, and once they start selling it, they repay back that line of credit or an IOU or a bond, or they bring in more partners who have, or venture capitalists who have cash that will help the business. And that's everything that this last 3 chapters. Accounting takes the numbers. Chief Financial Officer looks at the numbers and see how he or she could improve them. And then securities, if I have to sell, or how do I get more either debt or bonds, how do I sell my bonds, and how do I sell my stocks as to get more capital to increase my business, either expansion or maintain my payroll, because of, for lack of better words, of the economy, I have to survive. Okay? So that's what we're going to have on these 3 chapters. We have one form. Let's flip on the form. We just work 20 points. Now this form is going to be kind of interesting. I'm going to look at this form, and now let me just make this a little bit bigger here for you. I think I can make it a little bit bigger, even easier for me to read. Okay? So I'm looking at the form. What do I have here? I have in here, close this. Here's the form We have weeks. It's supposed to be week 6. It's basically week 7. I didn't edit it. Excuse me. Wrong error. I'll do it right on here. So I have week 7. Last semester was week 7. Okay, so we got week 7. I had the wrong week. Okay, so we got week 7. We're all set. So what are we going to do in the form? We're going to look at. You're going to do some research. You're going to go in there. You're going to learn the new rules about credit cards for your personal and your business use. The same rules that apply for your personal as a consumer also apply to your businesses. Businesses, I get a little bit better deals, but it's still the laws and rules are consistent whether I'm from consumer or for a business. Okay, and then we'll talk a bit about student loans. This all ties in, so you understand financially, because you are a chief financial officer. You only have so much money coming in. You're only working so much. You got so much student. Do I take a federal loan? Do I take a small business administration loan? All these are questions that you have to ask yourself. And so I'm going to try this chapter, and when you're doing your paper and your feasibility, one of the questions I'm going to ask you, can you make a profit? Do you I could open up a business and succeed for 2 or 3 months. Could my business sustain itself over a year or so? Okay? And so you do an internet search, find the latest articles and new credit cards, rules for either personal or business. I would appreciate more business, but if you could find something for personal, it's applicable. So what about the student loans? What about the new bankruptcy requirements, pros and cons? Do they help your credit scores? List what is a good credit score from a residential and from a business. So when we're looking, so you're going to find your student loan, bankruptcy, pros and cons. Do they help the credit score? Post some of the links so other students could find this out. So, you're looking at a network. You're helping each other out. Provide some understanding. Provide your understanding of these. What do you think the bankruptcies are for a business? What do you think the bankruptcies are for my student loans? Could I default on my student loans? So what I'm trying to get out of this whole forum is the terms and conditions. Remember, in business, as a financial manager, the interest rates are just a catch for me to come in. It's the terms and conditions that I'm looking for. What are the best terms and conditions? So are my terms and conditions better or are they worse? Okay, so we have that. So we got the forum. We're back to the weekly assignment. Now you have 2 connects. Remember, and the connects, and I did them this way on week 7. So you have one for chapter 17, and it's only like 2 questions. It shouldn't take you that long. It's not the Learn Smart. It's a regular connect. I've got one video. You have to go through the whole video, ask the question after you read the chapters, and then I have like a drag and drop, and the same with both of these 2 little videos, just to kind of give you, so it's not always just lectures and everything else. So you have videos like you would be in a face-to-face class with me, so you'd have the same kind of exposure only you're in the virtual office here, office classroom. Okay. Okay, so now you only have one quiz. This quiz is there's 15 questions. Each question is worth 2 points from chapter 19. Remember, the Blackboard quizzes are a one-time deal, and it prepares you for the final exam. So you'll be taking the final exam in this class online, and you'll be taking it. It'll be a final exam. I think I had to give you the time limits, like an hour and a half or 2 hours, whatever it would be inside of a classroom, and you'd have 100 questions and about I'm mistaken, about 7 or 8 questions for each chapter, 1 point each, and you'll have that after you turn in the paper the following week. You should be good. Okay, so we go in back on here. We go into week 7 again. Remember, I've got it in the color. Well, so you've got that. You've got the overview. You've got the quiz. You've got my concept, my flip to classrooms. Remember, a lot of students who look at this, you could download this onto this link. Will go download into your smartphone, and some students will listen to it on the way to the work. The lecture on there. So I've got one with chapter D. Is one from last week. I just did just in case you didn't get it. You got chapter 17. You got the financial lecture on this. I think each one is about 30 minutes, if I'm mistaken, and it gives you a quick overview from my perspective and things that you may see on the exam, questions, everything else. And remember, we're going to do the final exam next week. The whole week is going to be working on your paper because you'll be submitting it next Friday. So I want you to start looking at your paper. If I look at here, Let me just bring this back in here. Open up the links. Close that up here. I close this. There we go. I gotta open this up. So if you come in here, remember, feasibility research info update. Look at this. I want you to look at this so when you're talking about in a forum, here's the update, 2014. You've got a link. I will explain what's required on your paper so you do well on that. Here's another requirements with a mind map. Remember, you have a concept map. I provide you the whole outline on that. And I'll talk a little bit more next week, a little more detail on that. But I give you the whole outline. Follow it. All you got to do is answer the questions in the outline. Any business you open up, it pertains to all businesses, online, face-to-face. You answer the questions, and you'll do very well on my outline. Just the 7 headers I keep on talking about is in here. How to submit your homework. You've already been doing some of the submittal. As an attachment, you submit your homework as a, what do you call it, Word document or an RTF file within Blackboard, and I'll be able to read it. How do you view your posts? This was by a student within the class. If you posted something, the students reply to you. You click on that. If you didn't post anything, you can't view anything. It's gone. You weren't active. So the more you're active, the more students you touch, the more posts are available to you. So that's why it pays to be very active within the forum, because when you need that information, you have those connections. Okay, and your PowerPoints, and here's the rubrics, everything you're going to need. So that basically takes care of just quick overview on chapter. Week 7, we're doing very good. I'll have this all open for you. I think it'll be open tomorrow. Today's, I'm recording this, I think it's either a Saturday. I'll open up on a Sunday, so you got one form, 20 points, easy. You'll talk about your credit, student loan, anything you want to find out that's going to pertain, because the same rationale and credit scores that you're having as a consumer, businesses have similar. Someone you look at, what's the good credit score for a business? You'll be surprised how the similarities between the different reporting centers. Okay, and they all, again, looking at the 5 C's of credit capabilities. What do you call it? Credit worthiness. Collateral, everything else we talked about. Then you have your 2 Connect homework. Don't let it wait till the last minute. Start getting those done. These aren't too bad. And then you have one quiz. Remember, this is almost the last week. Next week you'll be working on your paper, and you're preparing for your final. Only one Connect next week, so you're doing good. Flip the classroom. I've got the different videos on here, and here's the overview that you're going to be watching, and you should be okay. All right? So that's it. So again, my name is Dr. George Mochocki, and welcome to Week 7. Introduction to Business Organization offered by the College of Lake County. We'll be covering Chapter 17, which is Accounting, Chapter 18, which is Financial Management, Chapter 19, which is Securities and Stocks. And remember, the stepsister of the stock market is the bond market. That's the IOU market, the credit market, and they're both as equal, and they're both trade on the open market. You have the initial public offering, which is money coming to me, and the secondary markets I'm selling. So I buy the house, it goes to the developer, and then when I sell it, it comes to me, and it's the secondary market. So again, welcome again, and you're doing good. Only a few more weeks, and you'll be finished, and then you'll be taking a little break before you start your next semester. Bye.